Train Sim World Roadmap, March 2023. TLDR, too long, didn't read, summary. A quick summary for those who don't want to go through the whole article. There are more details on all these points within the roadmap. Linke Rheinstrecke, Mainz, Koblenz. New screenshots, and preview this Thursday. Niddertalbahn, developed by TSG. We chat to TSG for more information on their upcoming German route. Midland Main Line, developed by Skyhook Games. An interview with the developer, and a first look at the Class 158. West Cornwall local steam Railtour. We chat to Rivet Games for more. A new Loco add-on bundle is in the works. Content for Southeastern High Speed, Cajon Pass, and Castle Würzburg. Add-ons Manager is live for PS5 players. Other platforms to follow. Red light improvements have been released, with good feedback so far. ScotRail Express, Edinburgh-Glasgow post-release update is live now. Details of post-release American content patch, coming soon. The roadmap. The birds are singing, flowers are budding, and the days are getting longer, spring is in the air. And with it comes the birth of loads of new things, fluffy bunnies, Easter chicks, and, of course, shed loads of Train Sim World goodies. This month, we have some new screenshots, information, and interviews with partner developers on Linke Rheinstrecke, Niddertalbahn, developed by TSG, Midland Main Line, developed by Skyhook Games, West Cornwall local steam Railtour, developed by Rivet Games, and a new Loco add-on bundle, making its way to you soon, before the next roadmap, no less. We also have updates for you on red light improvements, future patches, and we are writing this all in capitals because we are so happy it's out. Add-ons Manager has been released on PlayStation 5. It's going to be a bit of a mammoth march, with 3 releases from our partners, as well as 2 of our own releases before the next roadmap releases. There's something for everyone, and we are really excited to see what you think. Upcoming content. Linke Rheinstrecke, Mainz Koblenz. Let's take you back to the 1990s. Western Germany. The flagship of the Deutsche Bundesbahn. With stunning, winding Rhineland countryside, serving historical castle towns with a highly anticipated DBBR 103 and a new look for the DBBR 110.3, this is certainly a route we are looking forward for you to enjoy. Filled with oodles of rolling stock, 22 stations across 57 miles, 92 kilometers, of undulating land, there is a lot to explore and enjoy. As far as rolling stock goes, we've got plenty. DBBR 103 in Deutsche Bundesbahn Trans-Euro Express livery. DBBR 110.3 in Deutsche Bahn Orient red livery. AVS and BVMZ IC coaches with red band. And wagon coaches and Karlsruhe Kopf cab car in DB white and mint livery. Schim's U708 and Tagis 959 freight wagons. Some other interesting things you might want to know. The BRBR 103 is the first high-speed locomotive to be developed in Germany. It will also allow you to boost your power, but beware. Using the feature for too long will blow your MCB. Set in 1997, in the transition between Deutsche Bundesbahn to Deutsche Bahn. 24 castles on the route. Collectibles include, among some of the usual, cuckoo clocks. Onto the timetable. Players can expect 250 playable services, with an additional 51 coming from layered content. This breaks down as follows. DBBR 103, 111 playable services. DBBR 110.3 to 100 playable services. DBBR 463 cab car, 39 playable services. ICE 1 Castle Würzburg, 2 services. DBBR 628 Niddertalbahn, 49 services, these will come with the release of Niddertalbahn. There will be a pre-order available on Steam. More details will follow later in the week. The Linke Rheinstrecke DBBR 103 and DB Branch 110.3 will also layer onto Niddertalbahn upon its release. Whilst we've endeavored to replicate the 1990s style PIES system for this route, We haven't been able to complete this to a level we are happy with. After seeing the feedback from players around NEC, New York, Trent and around using inaccurate pies, we have made the decision to, rather than replace it with something modern, remove it entirely from this route, and the one instance of it occurring on Niddertalbahn. We are discussing rebuilding an asset at the moment, but can't commit to them being implemented at present. Make sure you tune into the preview live stream this Thursday with Alex, Matt, and Lucas, starting from 1900 hours UTC, and if you have any questions about the route prior to the stream, you can ask them here. Niddertalbahn, Bad Vilbel-Stockheim. Rolling sedately into March is the long-awaited first TSW3 route for our friends at TSG. A tranquil, single-track route, featuring the iconic DBBR 628.2, and featuring a guest appearance from the much-loved DBBR 365 diesel shunter and some new ES50 freight wagons, and being the first diesel-only German route in TrainSim World 3, we are delighted to bring it into your hands in the coming weeks. We spoke to the TSG team to find out more about what makes this quaint, 90s era route. Notice a pattern here, such a delightful drive. Hey TSG team, great to chat to you. So, why this route and this Loco? This was the first route that sprung to mind after brainstorming ideas, and we were all really keen to bring something new to TSW. After that we ended up searching for a fitting route 3 months, but eventually came back to this, since it fits the criteria of stuff we wanted to make. What have you learned from your previous TSW add-on releases? With almost all team members previously working on TSW for DTG made this much easier. There was no big learning curve and we were able to just work on the route. What has been the difference between working on DTG routes and this one? The timeline for a third-party project is a lot less stressful, since for most of the project we could just work when we wanted to. What was the most challenging part of creating this add-on? Making each area of the route unique, so you have a sense of location. We spent a lot of time making sure each area of the route has its own feel. And painting so many fields. For this we also focused on creating a new foliage set, which brings many challenges, like setting them up for all year round and making sure the route still runs well but is totally worth it to create a different feeling. This route is not that long, but it has 14 stations. Has this been challenging? Definitely. With a small team like ours, every station is a lot of work. We outsourced a few buildings, but Lucas ended up modeling most of them. Are there any surprises in store in the scenarios for the route? If you look closely, you might find the future creeping its way into the 90s. Cryptic, we like it. What iconic landmarks can players expect to see when they are driving the route? Multiple custom and era-accurate industries can be found along the route. We made sure to model as many iconics as possible. What additional layers can players expect from other TSW add-ons? Linke Rheinstrecke's BR103 and Branch 110.3 will layer in for AI traffic. What collectibles can players expect from the route? You will be on the hunt to polish Celtic statues, replace milk bottles, repair broken level crossing signs and put up posters. What is your favorite part of the locomotives featured in the route? The 628 is a German classic. It has been the train of my childhood and is known and loved by a lot of people. What was the most challenging part of creating the locomotive? Especially the 365 was not as easy as we expected. The cab needed a lot of change to be era appropriate. The 628 also needed time to nail down the correct version for 1992. What unique features have you implemented into the Loco S? The BR628 has automatic folding mirrors like a tram or bus. It reflects its job on a not-so-busy branch line like this. What is the service pattern like? Hashtag of services, variety of services, etc. At the moment we have 62 services. The route is a single-track branch line after all. But the services come with freight operations and coupling of certain services. They don't all follow the same recipe, which makes every run slightly unique. A full run of the route will take approximately 50 minutes. Especially picking up the sugar beets with 365 is fun in the timetable. You get to cross a lot of trains. It really doesn't have a lot of power. You will notice it struggles to get up to speed even on shallow gradients, which is very different to all the efficient modern German stock we have until now. Are there any other interesting features or quirks you'd like to mention about the route? We were also able to implement unique features, like manual activation of level crossings, HET. Same goes for AI whistle boards, where AI trains will now honk at the numerous whistle boards on the route. This is the first time we see German semaphores in TSW. A lot of work went into the proper animation of these and we hope they will show up more often now. Along the route there are lots of little scenes to explore. We felt this was necessary because of the slow nature of the route. You have time to properly look at your surroundings. Thanks to the TSG team for their time answering our questions. Some of images for this section have been taken by our brilliant beta team, so here's a special shout out to them for the great screenshots. Thank you to the TSG team for their time answering our questions today. Keep your eyes peeled to our Railfan TV schedule for a first look at the route lived in the coming weeks. Midland Main Line, Leicester Derby and Nottingham. We're excited to bring you more information on the UK's next planned route content, developed by our friends at Skyhook Games, the Midland Main Line, Leicester, Derby and Nottingham. By way of introduction to the route, we asked the team at Skyhook Games some questions. But first, here's a first look at the BR Class 158 for you. Enjoy! Hey folks! Great to have you back! So, why this route and Loco? The reason for this came down to looking at what the community would like to see. We spotted a few that suggested the Midland Main Line route and we took an interest in looking into it further. What have you learned from previous TSW add-on releases? There is always something new to learn and new experiences to overcome the more we do add-on content. With this being our first passenger route, there have been a lot of new challenges presented to us. What has been the difference between working on your last TSW route, Horseshoe Curve, and this one? We kind of touched on it a little in that this route is a passenger route, compared to the Horseshoe Curve route being freight, and that presented us with some new challenges and hurdles. Another difference, and a rather obvious one, is that we are now doing a UK route as opposed to US, which has given us some different things to consider, such as terminology differences in words used, and potential signal differences between the countries. What was the most challenging part of creating this add-on? The most challenging part really was for us to get our heads around transitioning over to TSW3 and the way things needed to be done for that. Additionally, all of the new things we had yet to touch due to not doing a passenger route before had also caused us some early headaches. This is your longest route to date. What stations can players expect to stop at en route? 12 stations: Derby, Spondon, Long Eaton, East Midlands Parkway, Nottingham, Beeston, Edinburgh, Loughborough, Barrow-upon-Soar, Sileby, Siston, and Leicester. Are there any surprises in store in the scenarios for the route? You might want to keep an eye out for a 2+2 formation. What iconic landmarks can players expect to see when they are driving through the route? Ratcliffe Power Station, Loughborough Brushworks, Red Hill Tunnel. What collectibles can players expect from the route? Train map overhead posters, picking up rubbish, fixing out of order ticket machines, and repainting worn benches. What is your favorite part of the Class 158? After our previous work on long trains meant for haulage in the US, the motion controls were a nice change to work on. With only 3 separate controls, they are simple to use. Learning how to implement them into the game for the first time was a fun challenge. What was the most challenging part of creating the locomotive? As our first time creating a UK locomotive from scratch, building the system for the doors and utilizing the crew door controls next to them was one of the most time-consuming and complex part of development. While we had many other UK locomotives to reference, each one is unique, and getting this was key to delivering a good 158 representation. Getting to grips with developing the audio systems from scratch was also a fun challenge. What unique features have you implemented into the Loco? As mentioned before, The crew doors have been implemented to control each door site and will lock and close them if the appropriate button is pressed. Linking this system into the shortcut for opening and closing the doors was a fun challenge. Our MCB switches for controlling certain lights in the saloon were a neat touch to add and makes the Loco feel more fully functional. It's a true-to-life pattern for the 158 1 to 2 trains per hour. Will there be any tutorials for the Loco? Yes, we have a dedicated tutorial for both classes 158 and the HST Locos. Our Midland Main Line introduction uses the Class 158 and our high-speed train introduction uses the HST. What physics considerations did you need to take into account for the Loco? Elements such as torque ratios, RPMs for the engine's gears and air pressures need to be assessed in order to get a more accurate simulation of the 158's physics. Keep your eyes peeled to Skyhook's social channels for more teasers and content in the coming weeks, and we'll be inviting them onto a live stream soon to show you all what they've been up to before release. West Cornwall Local Steam Railtour. We've not provided you an update on Rivet Games' next release for a little while, so thought we'd provide a little more information in the form of a quick summary of what you can expect from the team at Rivet. Scroll down for some screenshots. The post-release patch for ScotRail Express, Edinburgh-Glasgow has just been released, and you can find out more details about it here. We announced our latest add-on at the beginning of January. Now, we're happy to share more information with you. The West Cornwall Steam Railtour will arrive in TrainSim World this month. This pack will take you on a variety of steaming adventures on the West Cornwall local route. Expect challenging rides with the LMS Jubilee between Penzance and St. Austell in 2 all-new liveries, crimson red and black. We've also retrofitted the LMS Jubilee with an AWS system, a speedometer, and an updated, battery-powered tail light, replacing the old lanterns. Watch out for the custom headboards you can toggle. The hilly nature of our West Cornwall route will present you with a true challenge. You might want to have a look at our upcoming tips and tricks video on how to drive a steam locomotive properly. Included in this pack are 5 scenarios and 4 services on West Cornwall Local. We also brought the LMS Jubilee to our Edinburgh-Glasgow route. There's a new Railtour service waiting for you with a black Jubilee, as well as 2 new Railtours with a Class 37/5. The best thing about it, the only add-on required is our West Cornwall Local route, nothing else. Smiley face. Oh, and if you're still in a festive mood, hey, why not? There's a festive scenario included with the coaches wrapped in Christmas lights. Both the red and black livery of the LMS Jubilee are also available in a festive theme, with a little extra surprise hidden in the cab that'll make you feel even more festive. Multiple musical notes. If this sounds like a bit of you, then keep an eye out on Rivet's social accounts for more information, helpful videos, and other good stuff. Loco Add-on Bundle 2, Introduction. New to the roadmap is our next Loco add-on bundle, adding to your train sets on Southeastern High Speed, Castle Würzburg, and Cajon Pass, and providing a different gameplay experience. Interested to find out more? We asked James, our product assistant, to give you the lowdown. With Loco Add-on Bundle 1, we brought added variety and operational interest to each of the 3 routes. Seasonal leaf-busting services were added to Southeastern High Speed, heritage traction was revived on Cajon Pass, and more night freight opportunities raced their way along Castle Würzburg. We wanted the opportunity to add yet another flavor to each route, and with another trio of packs on the way, welcome to Loco Add-on Bundle 2. First up, adding to the more modern scene on Cajon Pass is the SD70ACE, now sporting the iconic BNSF livery. Complementing the ES44C4, the SD70ACE brings more 6-axle road power to the heaviest of trains, increasing variety, and offering a different perspective of the stunning Californian scenery. The BNSF SD70ACE features exterior model changes to reflect the specification of the fleet ordered by the Class 1 giant, and comes paired with additional freight cars so you can operate different types of trains over the pass. The center beam car returns in multiple colors, and accompanying that is the 89-feet flat car, carrying the hefty load that is truck trailers. It's freight on wheels, on wheels. For Germany, This time we're adding splashes of color to the passenger scene. You can ride with pride aboard the Railbow DB-BR 403 ICE 3. With a pride flag running down the whole length of the train, BR 403 No. 402-022, named Munchen, had its usual DB stripe replaced with this colorful rendition to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Railbow, DB's staff-led Pride initiative. We always love seeing your Pride designs in Creators Club, and now our second official one comes to Train Sim World 3, following in the footsteps of the Southeastern Rainbow. However, we didn't want to leave the ICE 1 out, and so racing alongside the Railbow is the recreation of the ICE 1 wearing its own kind of the Deutschlandschnellster Klimaschützer green stripe, as featured previously on the ICE 3. Protecting the climate is an important goal of any industry, and the railway is no exception. Having been in service for decades, DB's ICE trains have always been progressive in that regard, transporting hundreds of passengers much more efficiently than other means. And now the one I've been itching to write about. Being local to this, and so operationally unique, there is much to discuss. Thrashing its way onto Southeastern high speed is the BR Class 37/7, featuring the iconic, modern, and well-known Euro Phoenix livery, as leased by Rail Operations Group. Back in 2015, Southeastern began the 3-year refurbishment for their vast fleet of Class 375s. This overhaul, known as the SC-Refurb program, was to be undertaken at the original manufacturing plant of the units, Derby Litchurch Lane. However, to get the Class 375s to Derby, a solution was needed. Rail Operations Group is a railway company which specializes in the movement of rolling stock, be that the delivery of new units, taking old vehicles to scrap yards, or in the case of the Class 375, to and from refurbishment. Traditionally, the dragging of multiple units necessitates the use of translator coaches and brake force wagons, as most locomotives cannot couple to units, nor make any use of their braking equipment. That all changed with Rail Operations Group. Using Class 37 locomotives owned by Euro Phoenix, ROG are able to drag units such as the Class 375 with no additional vehicles. This vastly improves the efficiency of movement operations. The Class 37s can be fitted with a Dellner coupler adapter to attach to Class 375s, and even control their braking, with additional in-cab equipment highlighting to the driver what step of braking the 375 is in. ROG operate a handful of these specially modified Class 37s, and we have built 37,800 and 37,884, which despite their names, are indeed categorized under the Class 37/7 subclass. 800 and 884 have been around the block, with both celebrating their 60th birthday this year, and have worked throughout Wales, England, and Scotland. They were even once sent to work in Spain. The unit drag moves powered by these 37s would happen on a weekly basis. 375s would be dragged back from refurbishment of a morning, and the same locomotive would then pick up another 375 to drag to Derby in the late afternoon. They became something of a rail community icon during their 3-year run. Local spotters would see them every week, and those of us who saw it remember it well, and driver Lee, who was not afraid to slow down to a crawl, and give it 100% thrashed past spotters, and of course lots of tones. Running weekly, but not wanting to only provide 2 services, we've slotted multiple moves into the timetable, running them at different months of the year to increase playability, without overloading the AI experience. You'll be dragging Class 375s in both directions, to and from refurbishment, rekindling the days of the Class 375 SC Refurb program. But what is a refurbishment program with nothing to be refurbished? Accompanying the Rail Operations Group Class 37/7 is the Class 375/9 in the old Southeastern white livery. Featuring pre-refurb details such as the grey stripe, yellow doors, older decals, and subtly different interiors. So in between all the unit drags, relive the mixed color era of blue and white 375s working in tandem. The SD70ACE, ICE 3 Railbow and ROG Class 37/7 each come with additional scenarios for their respective routes, making them yet another brilliant way to add more to the experience. Much like Loco Add-on Bundle 1, The 3 packs will be available separately, or all together. Train Sim World 3 Core Improvements. A progress summary on the core improvements the teams are working on. This month, we have everyone's favorite, Add-ons Manager, a follow-up on pathing/red lights improvements, and a quick note on upcoming patches. Add-ons Manager. It's out. Released for PS5 players last week, we've seen lots of you able to reassess your whole collection again, and we are delighted for you all. We released a further patch on Friday. Click here for details, and we'll be monitoring your initial feedback. Add-ons Manager will be coming to other platforms. It is a necessity it does so, as we cannot have 2 separate back-end infrastructures to our game, and we hope that, with the initial reports looking positive, this can happen sooner, rather than later. We did want to take some time to highlight some key questions we know Xbox and PC players have had for us. What benefit will I gain from Add-ons Manager if I'm not a PlayStation player? Players should see a performance benefit, likely to be more noticeable with the more add-ons you have installed and on 8th generation consoles. This is due to the new system mounting content where it is needed in a game, rather than having your entire library potentially impacting your in-game driving experience. Will this impact any mods installed on my game? We will be working with modders and our beta teams to check that, where known, the release does not negatively impact any mods installed. We have thus far not seen any issues. Pathing/red lights improvements. We implemented a core game patch. Check out the details in the patches section of the roadmap, in February, which we believe has solved a lot of red light issues players were experiencing. Indeed, we've seen a lot of positive feedback from services which have since been completable. 1M03 London commuter service, several on Harlem Line, 1J07 Southeastern high-speed service, as a few examples. If you are still experiencing any issues with red lights blocking your progress after downloading that update, then please let us know. Click here. Our next step is to investigate individual issues which this improvement has not caught. Spirit of Steam iPad improvements. We had a candidate fix, which, upon testing, we found caused multiple knock-on issues with other content, so it is back with our engineering team to review. Thanks to our QA and beta teams who picked up on the issue. Patches, review and upcoming. Here's a quick summary of the contents of the patches released in the past month you may have missed. February 20th, headliners. Red light improvements, core game improvement. Boston Providence improvements including complete resign hauling and TSW3 lighting and skies. Sherman Hill improvements including TSW3 lighting and skies, plus turntable scenery improvements. March 7th, headliners. Edinburgh-Glasgow post-release improvements. West Cornwall local scenery improvements. US content post-release patch. Exact contents of these patches are to be confirmed, but we've selected highlights where possible. These are by no means the only patches to be released, but we wanted to provide an update on some of the more pressing upcoming releases. Sunnyside Yard OHLE improvements. Axis and Alp 46 introductions are now completable. Improved passenger behaviors in New York Penn fixed issue that could cause Axis to suddenly disable and report odd speeds like 69 miles per hour, sometimes causing emergency brakes. Improved collision and door behavior on bi-levels. Ensure CSS is always set to enabled by default. A CS64 max speed set to 125 miles per hour fixed problem where ALP46 couldn't uncouple and recouple due to bounding boxes. Speedometers increased to full range to show 100 miles per hour boost brightness of ditch and marker lights. Improved bi-level handling of low platforms. NJT trains changed to not require acknowledgement after speed reductions. Amtrak trains still require this, as per reality. Added missing axis/ATC indicators to HUD of bi-levels. Fixed some ATC cab light indicators to appear in correct colors. Improved speedometer of Amflate for easier reading. Rail driver on Amflates, expanded the zero range to allow the throttle to be rested at zero more easily. Moved safety system audio source in bi-levels to correct locations so they are more clearly audible. Some optimizations of textures to improve memory usage. Access valid database light now shows as green, not red. Improve flow of heritage help out. The gathering scenario, set banking comms to on by default. Corrected some scenario durations. Special projects team update. The team have been hard at work on the below, and working closely with our partners, more in the partner program section. Whilst we don't have a substantial update for you on the projects, here's a quick summary. HST livery designer compatibility going through final testing. TSW2 preservation crew updates, these are awaiting a suitable release build. DBBR 187 audio improvements, the special projects team have taken this on, but progress is slower than we'd like it to be at present. Third-party developer, partner program, update. We've provided some substantial updates from some of our partners in the upcoming updates section of the roadmap, but here are some quick notes on our other partners, whose projects are further out from release. As ever, as they develop and move closer to release, we'll share more information with you. Just Trains, we're in the process of reviewing scenery, and have linked them into the TSW auto testing framework. The team at Just Trains are well underway with scenario and content development. Whilst this is all great news, and positive progress is being made, we're still a little while off more details being ready for their upcoming content. Thompson Simulations, the track has been laid for their first route, which is being reviewed now by the special projects team. They are also getting training on creating gameplay for TSW. UW, in the early stages of developing the track system for their content. The Train Sim World Roadmap. Dovetail Games releases. These are forthcoming add-ons that are being developed by Dovetail Games. Where details are still being finalized for a release, we are including the ID code for it when possible. This will give you a good idea of what to expect. For Train Sim World 3, we've amended these product codes. To see what these ID codes mean, you can refer to this post https://forums.dovetailgames.com/threads/cracking-the-code.25968/. New TSW3 Loco add-on bundle 023.gcdl701 Raj 37.3.nd-DL703SD703.dbbl704 Railbow. TSW3 3.dbbr604 Linke Rheinstrecke, Mainz Koblenz. TSW3 3.gar502 Peak Forest, Ambergate, Chinley and Buxton. Partner program releases. These are forthcoming add-ons that are being developed by teams outside Dovetail Games. Where details are still being finalized for a release, we are including the ID code for it when possible. This will give you a good idea of what to expect. To see what these ID codes mean, you can refer to this post https://forums.dovetailgames.com/threads/cracking-the-code.25968/. TSW3 3.GAE601 West Cornwall Local, Steam Railtour, developed by Rivet Games. TSW3 3.DGGR601 Niddertalbahn, Bad Vilbel, Glauberg-Stockheim, developed by TSG. TSW3 3.GDGR702 Midland Main Line, Leicester, Derby and Nottingham, developed by Skyhook Games. TSW3 3.DBBL501 DBBR420 Electric Multiple Unit, Hauptstrecke München-Augsburg, developed by TSG. Core features. Core features are larger projects. These may be significant new pieces of functionality or changes that will affect players on one or several different platforms. Often requiring more time in development, this list may move more slowly than others. TSW3 Add-ons Manager, PS4, Xbox, PC. TSW3 Derailing Improvements, Route by Route. TSW3 Save Game Improvements, Route by Route. TSW3 Performance Optimization. Miscellaneous. Projects that players will notice but don't fall into one of the other categories. TSW2/TSW3 Rush Hour Passenger System for London Commuter. TSW2/TSW3 Spirit of Steam Manual Fireman Functionality. Special Projects Team. Projects that are being tackled by the Special Projects Team. The additions or changes in the upgrade will include some or all of the following: station departure boards, animated crossings, platform climb-up functionality, improved track rendering, rush hour passenger density and appearance, support for rail driver, contact signaler functionality, minor fixes to scenery, minor fixes to audio, minor fixes to gameplay, minor fixes to menu items, livery designer compatibility and scenario planner expansion. We have included a scale of the size of the work/features put into the update. TSW2 TSW3 HST Livery Designer Functionality. TSW3 TSW2 DBBR 187 Audio Improvements. TSW2 Tiny Scottish Commuter. TSW2 Small Hauptstrecke Hamburg-Lübeck, including timetable update. TSW2 Medium Rhein-Ruhr-Essen. TSW2 Small 2022 Bakerloo timetable, 600 plus services. TSW2 Small Long Island Railroad. TSW2 Huge Peninsula Corridor. Note, there are further improvements to come on both games. TSW2 Huge Oakville Subdivision. TSW2 Tiny LGV Mediterranee. Note, preservation crew updates will continue after the launch of TrainSim World 3. Removed from roadmap. Items that have been removed from the roadmap. This is either because they have been completed, their status having changed, or the project having been suspended. TSW3 Add-ons Manager, PS5, released. TSW3, 3.NBBL701 Amtrak's Acela, released. TSW3, 3.NBBR701 Northeast Corridor, New York, Trenton, released. TSW3, 3.NDDE701 Union Pacific Heritage Collection, released. TSW3 Boston Sprinter Route Upgrade, Lighting, Skies, Signaling, released. TSW3 Sherman Hill Route Upgrade, Lighting/Skies, released. TSW3 Red Light/Dispatcher Improvements across multiple routes, starting with rush hour routes and Harlem Line, released. Please join us tonight on YouTube and Twitch, Tuesday, March 7th, where we'll discuss the above, and more, with Matt and JD at 1900 hours UTC. If you have any questions, please add them to this thread by clicking here. You can discuss the contents of this month's roadmap on our forums by clicking here. TrainSim World Roadmap, December 8th, 20